Welcome to Personal Mastery Training. I'm your host, Alvin Brown, former world-class athlete turned entrepreneur and consultant. Join us as we learn from guests who have conquered their inner battles and share their journeys to success. Get ready for inspirational masterclasses and thought-provoking strategy sessions to fuel your path to personal mastery. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Personal Mastery Alliance. We're missing our fearless leader, Alvin Brown. But Ray and I are here to hold it down, and Brandon hopefully will be able to join us later. But if not, we'll catch him next week. So this is an awesome conversation. Ray and I were talking before we got started here, and just talking about the importance of preparation. And it's one of these subjects that is not often talked about in the business world as much as it is talked about in the athletic world. And, Ray and I are both former football players and understand the importance of preparation. And there's no way you can play well on game day without preparation. However, preparation is not just for athletes, it's for life. And it's so important to be prepared in life. And so today we're just going to dive into some of the finer points of preparation, what that means, and how you can apply it into your daily life. So I'll get us rolling, Ray. I think when I think about preparation, it's so interesting. One of the quotes that comes to mind is that famous quote about luck, right? And luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. In other words, there's no such thing as luck. Okay. When you're prepared and you have an opportunity, then magic happens, right? And I remember Les Brown saying it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So preparation is essential, because then if you're prepared, then you can capitalize on that opportunity. And the thing about opportunities that's tricky is that opportunities don't make appointments. Okay. So they show up and you're either prepared or not, right? If there's an opportunity for you to make a connection that could change the trajectory of your career, the opportunity appears. And if you're not prepared, it goes by you, right? There's an opportunity to close a business deal. And if it's not prepared, the window closes and someone else closes that deal, not you. So it's so important that preparation is front of mind, A, and B, preparation is part of our daily routine. Right? It's part of our daily routine. It's not something that we do every once in a while. It's something that we do every day. And so with that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah. And I always smile whenever we have these calls, and no matter what subject we really talk about. I have great conversations with my wife too about this. And I remember when we first started, Charlie, my wife used to tell me, it's kind of difficult sometimes. Sunday morning, kids wake up. I'm by myself for about an hour. They're running around like wild animals. I need someone to come and set this straight a little bit. Because she's not a morning person either, right? She's morning afternoon. And I used to always tell her, hey, I hear you, trust me, but I'm being on these calls. I'm not I'm not skipping these calls. They are parts of what needs to be done. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. And I see why. And she sees why also. She understands why not, that we've been doing this for years now. Um, when we all look at the best version of ourselves, we all have glimpses of this, okay? Even if you commit to personal mastery or not, I know there are days in your life, whoever's listening, really, when you wake up and you're on it today, you're on it. You got good sleep, you're confident, Okay, you're confident. You make the right decisions. Uh, you're brave. You're kind. You're all of these things. Okay, no matter what happens to you, well, sometimes they happen randomly here and there. You have some of these days, and when you're prepared, okay, when you're consistent, this is who you start to become every single day, right? Every single day. So that's really what preparation is, in my opinion, is elevating your life. Is elevating your life in every sphere possible. Is being consistent in being the best you that you can be. And that's really the only way. That's really the only way we can achieve that. We all have glimpses of greatness within us, but man, are we keeping it random? You know, because there's this one opportunity today to do the right thing, or are we embodying this every single day, right? So preparation is really a big thing. Preparation allows you that when the time truly comes, when the opportunity presents itself, it's almost as if you've seen it before. You've seen it before. You know, you're not jittery. You're not running in every direction. You're not asking yourself what to do. You already know what to do. That's the power that you have. And what I love about preparation too, Charlie, is that it doesn't take talent to be prepared. No. It doesn't take talent to be prepared. Everyone has the ability. It really takes intention, it takes commitment, and it takes just doing these things every single day. You know, checking your intentions and committing to doing the right things, whether they're little, whether they're big, we're simply committing to doing the right things. And we cannot afford, I believe, to go through our lives without preparing ourselves. Okay. Sometimes we tend to think that we can. That comes from ego. Okay. That comes from ego, in my opinion. But life has curveballs for us. That's for sure. I can guarantee you, whoever you are, there will be ups, there will be down, and you can choose to be totally blindsided, you know, and not know what to do and not answer the call, or you can choose to be prepared and do what's needed and rise up to the occasion and not only be proud of yourself, but man, when you do that, it gives so much value to you and everyone else around you. We all benefit when you are prepared. So whether it's professionally, whether you're an athlete, or really if it's about your person, my challenge for you, my challenge for me is to prepare yourself every day. Put it on top of mind. Prepare yourself every day to be the best version of yourself. So whatever that means, because the world is better for it. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I love that take. And I was thinking about this notion of options, choices that we have as human beings. And and I didn't, I think the first time I heard this, maybe the first few times I heard this, I didn't get the sense of it. And I've thought it through, and hopefully I can articulate this in a way that the audience will really grasp the concept. There's an illusion of choice. Now,
Mm,
here's what I mean by that. If you think you can be successful without preparation, that's an illusion. If you want to be successful in life, doesn't matter personally or professionally, you need to prepare. So there's no choice about it. So if you want to succeed, you have to prepare. There's no other choice to be made, right? There's no, well, not this morning or not this week or not this month or not this quarter. If that's what you choose, then you're choosing to be unsuccessful. You're choosing to lose when you don't choose to prepare, right?
mm,
And so preparation is a requirement of success. It's not an option to success, right? And there's no sustainable success without preparation. And so preparation, as I mentioned earlier, has to be something you do every day. And it doesn't have to be these huge things. You don't have to run a marathon every day or run 10 miles every day. I'm not talking about that. What we're talking about is if you're planning to run a marathon, well, there's things you do every day to prepare for that event, right? You're going to stretch, you're going to sleep, you're going to hydrate, you're going to have a training plan, right? And that plan prepares your body for a 26.2-mile run, right? And there's incremental things that you need to do every day as far as distances you need to cover. There's weights you need to eat. There are foods you need to eat. There's so many things that you need to do to get ready for that race. Is it going to be a flat race, right? Or are there going to be some hills, some inclines, some declines? Well, there's going to be inclines and declines. You have to do specific preparation to get your body ready to run those inclines, to get your body ready to run the declines. Because if you just prepare on a flat surface and then you're going to run a marathon on a hilly terrain, you're going to struggle. Why? Because you're not prepared for it. So we got to prepare.
Mm.
And when we prepare, not only will we be physically ready, but we'll also be mentally ready because we'll have confidence that we know we put in the work. And when those doubts try to creep in, they get answered by preparation. That's the way to, people talk about their doubts and fears. You want to quiet your doubts and fears, prepare. Preparation quiets those things. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Yeah. And preparation, I just wrote this down. Preparation is strategy. Strategy. And what's your strategy to fulfill the vision that you have for your life? Okay. What's your strategy really? And how do we even fulfill a vision? Do you even have a clear vision? You know, let's start with that. And when we ask ourselves these questions, we fall into strategy. That's what preparation is, really. So let's just go back with this. Okay, first clarify your vision, whatever it is. Okay, that ultimately, man, when you picture it in your mind, when you close your eyes, man, this is it. Okay, this is it. Can you explain it? Can you name it? Can you put it on paper? Can you have some type, of picture of what it is? Because the reality is, I'm never gonna hit a target that I can't see. Okay. I'm never gonna hit a target that I can't see. So first clarify that vision. Then we always talk about setting a direction for me. As Charlie just said, how do I set a direction? There are certain things, okay, I need to go this way. I need to do this. I need to do this by when, right? You set a direction, then you hold yourself accountable. That's how you progress. That's how you maintain it. That's how you rinse and repeat. Wax on, wax off. Like Miyagi, just like Alvin always says, that's really important. Also, it's progressing. And as you do all these things, you become, you materialize. What's in your mind becomes in your hands, ultimately, right? Before we started this call, I told Charlie about, okay, I've tested things over the past few months that I'm really happy about, but ultimately I was like, okay, to put this into a business, I have to sit down. I have to sit down for myself. I have to create a business plan just for me, really to strategize, to see the picture and not to set the direction on, okay, this vision is great, but how do you materialize it? What do I need to do next? By when? With whom? Right? That allows me, that puts me in a position now to make it real. Same thing for anything else. And that's really what strategy and what preparation is. So it's one thing to say, oh, I want to be prepared. It's another thing to put your preparation in action every single day by setting your strategy. And now that's the cool part about it. It makes everything simple. Let's be honest, as human, we always complicate everything. Okay, we want to do this, but then I feel afraid, or I don't believe I'm capable of it, or this person says this, or this person said that, and okay, let me hold it off for a little while, but then I lose the idea. Okay, I lose the motivation I had today. Well, let's throw that aside. Okay, let's throw that aside. There are people who even say whenever they have a great idea, they write it down. And just by exposure to you, Charlie, or Alvin, I never met Tom Bill, but I know Tom Bill always says one idea well executed can change the whole world or change your life forever. Right? So that just gives you an example where I'm human, I can forget great ideas. What if I walk around with a notebook and every time one comes up, I just write it down? I just write it down. It gives me an opportunity to go back to these ideas at some point and now really, really ponder and really think about them and give them power, give them everything. So preparation gives power, man, to your beliefs. It gives power to everything in your life. But that's with strategy. So as strategy simplifies everything. So keep it simple. Give yourself a chance. We always talk about football, Charlie, but it's true. The greatest football team, they accomplish very complex things, but break them down, okay, puts them into segments so that players can just show up on the field, know exactly what they have to do without overthinking. That's why you watch tape. That's why you create concepts. Even as we teach, we use wisdoms, we use a lot of concepts, right? Because they align very complex elements and they make it easily understandable for people. What if we did that same thing for ourselves? Okay? What if we did that same thing for ourselves? That's what preparation is, in my opinion. Never forget the strong, strong element of strategy. Okay, of strategy. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
It's a great point, Ray. And I was thinking about the analogy you gave of a football team and that simplicity and the preparation allows them to know what to do. And one of the things you can see on a football field is they'll talk about a team that plays fast.
Mm,
If you line up these two teams together and just run races, you'd find that the teams are very similar speed wise, physically, because people are doing similar things. But when they're on the field, why does one team seem to play faster than the other team? And the reason is preparation. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no
mm,
hesitation. So the perception is, wow, they're fast. They're on this. They're very efficient. Well, it's because of their level of preparation allows them to
yeah,
play fast. They're not doing all this thinking. And even that slight hesitation is the difference, right? Not quite sure what to do. Oh, now I know what to do. Well, now you're a step behind, or maybe more. And they say that game is a game of inches, and it's true. When you have teams that are evenly matched, that are competitive, what does it come down to? Preparation,
mm,
right?
yeah,
The team that is better prepared wins, and
mm,
it's amazing. So there's no luck involved, as they say. I was watching I live in the Kansas City area, metropolitan area, and so I was watching the Chiefs last Sunday, and they were came down to the last play of the game, and the Denver Broncos drove down and were going to kick a game-winning field goal as time expired, but the Chiefs
mm,
blocked the field goal. But when you look back at that play and you run it in slow motion, you can see that the Chiefs had a field goal block on. That's an
mm,
actual play, and they practice to block field goals. They practice every day on blocking field goals, and guess what? They blocked
yeah,
it, right? And the amazing thing, if you look at that film, If for some reason the guy that blocked the kick, if he closed his eyes and missed the ball, there are two other guys that are right behind him that probably would have blocked the kick too. So there
mm,
were three people that had a chance to block that kick. That kick had no chance to make it. It was going to get blocked. But it was because they prepared for that eventuality. They prepared for that play. And they haven't had to block a field goal to win a game. I don't remember the last time, so it's been years. But
mm,
even though the occurrence hadn't happened, they knew it was a possibility, so they prepared for it, and
mm,
they're successful. So
mm,
it's so interesting how, again, preparation meets opportunity. But without the preparation, the opportunity really is going to not matter, or it will pass you by. So that's always football. Just athletics is always a great example because you see the immediacy. In business, sometimes your
yeah.
preparation might not show up for years, but then that's what they call an overnight success, right?
Mm,
All of a sudden you're successful, and people are like, "Oh, you came out of nowhere." But what they didn't see is the 20 years of preparation, the 30 years of preparation that allowed you to be ready for that moment. You seized it, and now boom, you're on the scene. You're successful. Your business is succeeding, your book is succeeding, your podcast is succeeding, whatever it is, you're succeeding
mm,
because of your preparation, not because of lack thereof.
mm.
With that, I'll pass the mic.
You know what I love about the preparation in this subject also, Charlie, is I love momentum, momentum. Because when you look at a business, that can be a good idea. Okay. So let's say I bring in this person, okay, this high quality, high leverage person within my business, okay. At first, it was just me. At first, it was just me. So I'm trying to do everything. And then this person comes in, and man, they're all in, they're bought in. And then they combine what they do with what I do. Okay, so what happens? We created momentum. We're stronger, we're a little bit faster, right? But then we bring on somebody else that's this of the same ink. We took our time, we found the right people, and then we bring on somebody else, and then we bring on somebody else. Next thing you know, we're going full throttle, we're going 100%. We're creating amazing thing without none of us necessarily working harder. Okay, working harder. The union of these parts created momentum. Same thing. I take a basketball, I have it on my finger, I tap it once, turns a little bit, falls down. But if I tap it enough times, I can take my hand off. I can take my hand off, and it's rolling, it's rolling, it's rolling by itself. So that's really what preparation is at the same time. View it as such. It creates momentum. Okay, it creates momentum where if you consistently do certain things, they take a life of their own. I can put my focus into something else that continually adds on to whatever's going on. But that's the thing. If I never give that basketball a little bit of energy once in a while, it stops turning. It falls back down. And it's going to take a while for me to bring it back to the speed at which it was turning at first. So that's really the power of preparation and the momentum it creates. But on the other end, it shows you exactly what it does when you completely stop. Imagine making all this progress, and for whatever reason, okay, in your strategy, you had a plan that every single day I take one step, one step, one step, one step. But if I totally stop taking that one step for 100 days, I'm 100 steps behind. You know, I'm 100 steps behind. It takes a while for me to even just get back to the status quo, right? And now if you don't know how to create that strategy, okay, and without strategy, you cannot create momentum. Just understand there's a process. There's always a process. And no information is completely new, right? You can find this information, just listen to the Mastery Alliance, read books, talk to people, look around, okay, and go find that process, that information to really set things up in the right way for you to advance and prepare the right way because you can also prepare for failure. You can do that. I believe a lot of people do that, right? If you incorporate the wrong things in your plan, in your strategy, in your minds, in your habits, you're preparing for failure. So it's really knowing what to add and what to take away. That starts with a process. That starts with focusing on the right things. And then that's what's awesome about this is that I believe that when momentum reaches a certain level and all parts work together in harmony, there's no stopping. Okay. No matter if people believe in you, they don't believe in you, they're with you, they're against you, there is no stopping. And it's a beautiful thing to see because everyone recognizes when someone is truly prepared, it's a work of art in motion that absolutely nothing can stop. Even nature sometimes. Even nature, maybe they even become part of it. They become something that we can study. And I believe that's what personal mastery is. Okay, maybe it's aligning all of these parts together to truly be prepared for whatever life brings, creating a momentum, such a momentum that cannot be stopped. And with that, I'll pass the mic.
Some thoughts. You're talking about putting a team together and that synergy that creates momentum and power, and it's really contagious, right? And so this is another kind of glimpse into my preparation. I have a belief system as everyone does, and I have beliefs that I apply to my business interests on a daily basis. However, I love when people challenge some of my concepts, right? Because if my concept has holes in it, or it's not solid, or if there's a better way, I want to know what it is, right? So that I can improve. So I was recently in Alaska on a business trip, and then I have a couple of friends up there. Well, I have more friends now, but there are a couple people up there that I know pretty well, and so I had dinner at their home the last night I was there, and the husband, his name's Dave. We got into this conversation about business, and somehow it came up about hiring philosophy, and I told him you know, the number one set. There's a set of attributes that I want when I hire someone, right? I want that person to be people oriented, right? I want them to be a people person, have people skills. And number two, I want them to be a team player. So they have to have that combination. Like that's essential. The other things I can train, right? But those two things, they're essential. So then he had a challenge. He says, well, hey, my son is he says, what about people that are very how did he say, shy or introverted? So what about introverted people? He said, my son's very introverted. He'll do a great job for you, but he's not going to be the person that's going to be outgoing, or be the connector or that kind of thing. But he will, he is team oriented, and but you're going to have to draw him out. So what about those people? How do they fit into your space? And no one had ever asked me that question. And I was like, that's a good question. Man, maybe I have to go back and revamp this a little bit, right? So, but I've thought a lot about it since that conversation. And, in our society today, we really want to be inclusive. And I think it is important, right, that we're inclusive in so many areas and ways. However, I remember what kind of solved this issue, this challenge for me is I remember this quote from Tommy Lasorda. He's a very successful manager for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Matter of fact, under his guidance, they won at least one World Series. They might have won multiple, but I can remember one in particular they won. And I remember him being interviewed, and he was talking about what it takes to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's one team, right? That's one of however many Major League Baseball teams, but there's only one Dodgers team. And within that Dodgers team, they only have a set amount of positions available. And there's certain attributes that he's looking for you to be able to get on the field with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And how he'd have a conversation with a young man who's trying to make the team, and he decided that, hey, this individual was not going to make the team. He'd have a conversation with this person saying, hey, look, you can be a doctor, you might be a lawyer someday, a successful politician. He said, but you can't play second base for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And there's nothing wrong with that because they're very specific in what they do and who they're competing against. And so you have to have a special individual to be able to play second base for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And really, there's only a few people in the world that get that opportunity, right? So in my business, with what I do and the way I do it, people have to possess that attribute. The people that don't, there are other things they can do, right, with their lives, but they can't play second base for the Dodgers, right? And that's just the reality. And so, but again, that's my preparation, always looking to improve, but then solidifying the fact that, hey, in the business I'm in, we need outgoing people, right? We need people that are naturally gregarious and that are naturally and that believe in teamwork. Well, when I hire a group of people like that, my teamwork, the chemistry, the camaraderie is organic. I don't have to take us on a team building trip. I don't have it happens organically. And that's momentum because as I keep adding gregarious, team-oriented people into the mix, it gets more powerful, it gets synergized. And now, in our business, when we're competing against people that don't have that, we have a significant competitive advantage. So I think that's just one example of that daily preparation. I'm always open to improve, and whatever our philosophy is, whether it's life or business, it should be able to stand up to scrutiny. And if it can't stand up to scrutiny, then we need to take a close look at that. Maybe our beliefs about that process or about that um, particular item needs to change. So with that, I'll pass the mic.
I think that's so good. I think that's so good and so true to have really strong clarity on what these values are, what these specific skill sets are. Because I'll give a quick example where I look at me and my wife. Okay, we're totally different people. Okay, totally different people on the outside, you know. Uh, but when you look deeper, we're really almost the same person. When it comes to directing line of how we think, of how we view life, or how we view certain things, extremely similar, although very different people. And that comes to the question, you're so right. Whenever you build a team or whenever you're trying to accomplish something with other people, you have to know exactly who you are, and you have to even know what your culture is. Okay, let's go back to sports, for instance. Certain coaches adapt everything that they do to their players year to year. That's great, okay? Because yes, you need to adjust to the skill set of your guys. But if you look deeper at these players, you'll see that oftentimes they're disciplined, they're hardworking. They have certain things that align with the makeup and the culture of their coach. Okay. If those things weren't there, it would not work. It would not work. For you, that's that, being team oriented, being a people person, because you know what your culture is. So let's talk about even culture a little bit. Okay, let me write this. Yeah, preparation creates a culture, and a great culture outlasts and even becomes bigger than the culture setter himself or herself. Think about that, how powerful that is. When you create a powerful culture, whether you're here or you're gone, that culture will outlast you, become bigger than you. And other people will take on that culture and give it strength and perpetuate it. That's the power of preparation. Wow, that's a big one for me today. I'll really reflect on that this week. But yeah, so whenever you go into a team, let's say, if you know yourself and you know what's important to you, you know what you want to contribute to, you not only look at like the salary or the advantages or things like that, you look at the culture. Okay, you look at the culture. Do I believe that? You know, can I be myself here? Do I have my audience? Because sometimes it's okay. It's just not my audience. Maybe it's a great business, great team, but it's not the one for me. And that's totally fine too. That's totally fine too, because not everything is for everyone. Not everyone will commit to waking up at the hours that we wake up, Sunday mornings to have these conversations. And that's okay. But that's a culture that has been set, by you, Charlie, by Alvin, and anyone that comes in it needs to fit in that. And you know what's awesome with this? Alvin is not here today. Do these calls stop? They
No,
don't.
right, right.
You couldn't make it last week, as well as Alvin. Did we stop?
Right, right.
It outlasts you guys even now. You
Wow.
know
Yeah,
how powerful is that?
right. That's amazing, man.
I'll just drop the mic here because yeah, that's crazy, and now it shows what's happening. It shows what's being created, and whoever's listening is taking that on too themselves, one way or another. And that's how far, just being prepared, just committing to something, um, can impact so many people. Yeah, I'll pass the mic. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you think about Christianity is a great example of that culture, right? Think about Christianity, Jesus Christ, been gone for 2,000 years, but the culture remains, right? The culture remains. And of course, some people practice that culture better than others, right? But but the culture remains, the principles are there, and those principles are timeless. And that's the great thing too. I just when you think about preparation and really leveraging principles, right? Because in your preparation, because principles are timeless, right? They're timeless. And I I find myself coming back to this quote weekly that I'm about to say. Principles are too important to be new. Okay. Principles aren't created or discovered. Okay. They exist. And then we discover whether it's principle of electricity, thermodynamics, there's so many principles out there, gravity, magnetism, there's principles. So when we discover the principles that drive our success, right, that have the ability to drive our success as business professionals or as fathers, as mothers, as friends, and we properly apply those principles, we're going to achieve the greatest outcomes. And wow, you know, when you think about culture outlasting its creator, that's a principle. That's a principle for sure. I really love that. So what type of culture are we creating, right? And because it will outlast the creator. And some cultures are for better, and some cultures are for worse. Clearly. And I think that the role that culture plays in business, in families, or in society can't be underestimated. It's so powerful. And culture really does drive behavior. It sets the tone for behaviors, and behaviors create outcomes, right? Because behaviors become habits, and habits, you know, any outcome we're having or experiencing as a human being, if we want to discover the beginning of that outcome, the genesis of that outcome, all we have to do is find the habits that led to that outcome. And there you are.
Yeah.
So it's powerful. That culture piece is powerful. And I'm the company culture doctor. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the that's the
Exactly.
that's the website is helping organizations with their culture. And it's interesting because if you think about it, someone has a problem with employee turnover, culture issue. An organization has a problem with workplace safety, culture issue. An organization has a problem with quality, culture issue, right?
Yeah.
All culture issues. Sales, we're having trouble with culture issue. There's so many
Mhm.
things that you can trace right back to the culture. And when we address what ails the culture, then it's a remedy that has multiple effects. You're going to, all the areas where you're lacking, when you address the culture, then all of a sudden you fortify all those areas that were in the struggle. So it's amazing. With that, I'll pass the.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so powerful. Huh? So the little things are not so little, right? The little things are not so little once again when we look at that. And when we say principles are created, they are not created, they're discovered. That's powerful too. And that's so true. Uh, we still don't know. We still don't know to this day with all our technology, our AI, we don't know how the pyramids were created. We have no idea. We have absolutely no idea. We don't know what they were for. We don't know anything. They had certain principles, okay, that are maybe in a total different direction than ours that we know nothing about. Why? Because we simply haven't discovered them. They clearly know something that we don't. Okay, so if we do find out one day, it's not because we created it, it's because we simply discovered it. We
Yeah, the,
simply discovered
the
it.
the
Yeah,
size of
go
those
for it.
the size of those stones alone, right? The weight of the stones alone, but then the precision that they were cut with. We can't duplicate it with today's technology.
No, no. And they're not all similar, huh, Charlie? They're all different. All these stones, they're cut differently, but they're kind of put together Lego-like to be perfectly aligned. Like, who does that? We cannot do it to this day.
And there was some stone that they put on the face, and I can't remember the
Mm.
name of this stone that they put,
Limestone, I believe.
but it's very shiny when light
Yeah,
hits it. And so, and of course, over time, that's worn away. But they feel like when they were first erected and they had this coating on the
Yeah,
pyramids, that those pyramids, when the sun hit them, shimmered like jewels.
yeah,
Man, I mean,
that's
the
crazy.
size and then it just had to be magnificent, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then and then the engineering uh, that they were built to face true north. And I think they're only to this day they're only a couple of degrees off of true north
yeah.
as far as the planet, and they really believe that that's the reason why they're 2 degrees off is because geological shifts. They believe that when they were built, they were probably right on. And
Yeah.
I think the closest facility in the United States, and it's some kind of weather station, I can't remember, but that it's 4 degrees off true north, and the pyramids are only like 2 degrees off. So the pyramids that
Wow.
have been standing for thousands of years are closer to true north than what our modern technology could create. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. But even when you look at the pyramids, they clearly outlasted the people who constructed them. And now here's what's so awesome about preparation is because even if they outlasted the people who constructed them, because those people prepared and did it the right way, they left clues for us. They left clues for us to discover, right? To discover. Now, as for our lives, if we truly prepare, things happen in life. You may get lost sometimes, right? It's part of it, right? You may get lost. You may lose your way. This might happen. That might happen. But when you're truly prepared, you leave clues for you to go back to, okay? For you to realign to what works, to what's simple, to what's your true nature, your directing line, okay? To always come home. So, hey, that's really what it is in the end that I'll write down for me. Being prepared is coming home. It's coming home. We always think of creating ourselves. Yes, we are creating ourselves, but really, I believe we're going back to what we're initially capable of being. We're rediscovering our true potential and our true power. That's what personal mastery is. And being prepared every single day sets a culture that becomes much more powerful than if today I'm motivated or not or if today I want to or not. No, it's not about that. It's bigger than you now, right? You have to fall into it because you see the whole picture, and the whole picture is much bigger than you. And that's how you can rediscover yourself. And how how great would it be to know exactly who you are and what you're capable of? Isn't that what we all want in our human nature? Whoever you are, isn't that what you long for? Is to know exactly who you are and what you're capable of. The little things, starting with preparation. That's how big these things are, you know. That's how important they are. And that's how much we should not leave them aside because maybe they're not sexy. you know, they're not sexy or they're not that. Today we're really talking about having perspective. Okay. Perspective on very very powerful principles that are timeless, and one of these principles is preparation. You know, preparation. Yeah. Now that's the mic.
This has been a powerful segment, and you think about the little things as you mentioned, those daily acts, they're not sexy, right? Getting up on time, making your bed, keeping up with your workouts, right? Making sure that you're eating the things that are going to fuel your body. Those aren't sexy things. right? Making sure you're making it to your workout. But the amazing thing is the outcomes are sexy though.
Oh yeah.
Right? The outcomes are sexy, not the grind, not the preparation, not the daily routines. They're just almost mundane, they seem. But they all matter. And the outcome is pretty spectacular. For sure. I'll look at people sometimes that are really fit and I'll think to myself, you know what? How many miles have they walked? Right?
Yeah.
How many stairs have they climbed? Right? How many different sweets and treats have they said no to? Right?
Mm,
How much weight have they lifted? Right? To achieve that physique. And so there's a
mm,
lot of work that went into that. They just don't show up and boom, they've got they're 220 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. It's not how it works. You got to do
mm,
the work. Then you get the reward at the
yeah.
end. And that work is called preparation.
Mm,
Yeah. So, wow, this has been
yeah.
give me a lot of food for thought. I've got a good page of notes here,
Me too.
and I'm definitely going to look for areas that I can improve my level of preparation. And I
Me
think
too.
uh, that's only going to accelerate my benefits,
Yeah.
accelerate my outcomes, bring success closer, right? Or make it stay longer through
Mm,
preparation. Yeah. So what's your word for this week?
man, Charlie, I'll go with outlast.
Hmm.
Outlast. Yeah. Outlast. What what's amazing is endurance in life, and I believe that's needed. Okay. Resilience. All these things, man, that are built allow us to reach the next level. So outlast is my word. Is my word for the week. Yeah.
I think for me, I'm gonna go with relentless.
Mm,
The relentless pursuit of perfection, right? And that's a pursuit. And
wow.
again, nothing's perfect, right? But if that's the goal, like, man, how can I make this perfect, right? That's my goal, and I relentlessly pursue that. Vince Lombardi said, "Hey, nothing is perfect. It's not attainable, but we're going to relentlessly chase perfection because if we do that, we'll catch excellence."
Yeah.
That's one of the things I want to catch excellence.
Mm. Powerful stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Here's the other thing Vince Lombardi said, the other piece of that quote. He said, "I am not remotely interested in just being good."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not remotely interested. Right? So
Zero. Yeah. Zero.
so good enough was not in his vocabulary.
Wow.
Right?
Hmm. Yeah. And no surprise, no surprise he's regarded as one of the greatest coaches of all time,
Of all
if I
time.
might say.
Yeah.
Absolutely no surprise.
Of all time. Yeah. So
Wow.
I love it. All right. Well, hey, thanks for getting up and making this happen today. And it's been an awesome conversation.
Always, Charlie. Always great talking to you, and wishing the best to the rest of our crew, Alvin, Brandon, and see them next time.
Absolutely. And so until next time, we'll leave you with three things. That is peace,
Peace,
love,
love,
and
and soul.
soul.
Yeah.